Here with LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels, over 600 yards of total offense last week. You said your favorite was the 51-yard touchdown. Walk us through what you saw in that play.
Yeah, so we were kind of, as an offense, going fast, so we have like a simple call, like one play call. We're going fast, so honestly, I was looking at trying to throw the ball to Malik, but he ended up getting, somebody dropped underneath it, double team. So I really had nowhere else to go, maybe the running back, but me, I seen like the linebacker trying to come and cover the running back, so I just seen an open running lane. I kind of pump faked a little bit, and I just started taking off and running. And I was thinking about, okay, maybe I'm gonna just get like 20 yards, and then I seen a dude right in front of me, and I was like, oh, he's not really like paying attention. He thinks I'm about to go outside, so I cut up. And it kind of just from there, I got a couple blocks, and then, I turned back around, make sure nobody's behind me, try to look twice, and then, just win the end zone.
A historic performance a week ago here in Death Valley. What does Jaden Daniels have in store tonight? We're about to find out as we welcome you to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Shop with Google. And you're watching the SEC on ESPN. A packed house in Tiger Stadium. Where else would you rather be in prime time on a Saturday evening? Here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Well, the Sun Belt comes calling. Georgia State's in town. The 6-win Panthers facing off against LSU for the first time ever this evening. Now, so glad you could join us alongside of Roddy Jones. I'm Roy Philpott. We will hear more from Taylor McGregor in just 1 minute. Jaden Daniels. He was the story a week ago. He's got a chance to win the Heisman Trophy.
He certainly does. When you look at what he's done this year, second in the country in yards per game passing, #1 quarterback in terms of rush yards overall, knocking on the door of 1,000 yards. The only reason that he's not the prohibitive runaway favorite is his team's record. And if that's your only excuse, you need to change it, because this guy's the most outstanding player in the country.
Yeah, Tiger started to play some very good football. And you look at the numbers, you watch the film, it does not lie. He can do it in a variety of different ways.
He does it in any way that you want him to. The thing that's been the most impressive is his deep ball accuracy this season and how much it's improved. But his ability to run the football explosively, to make guys miss, has been tremendous. But the guys that he has around him, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., certainly help this offense go. But this guy has been as good as there's been in the country, and there's talks in these parts that he might be having a better season than Joe Burrow did.
The numbers speak for themselves. Taylor McGregor, what does he have in store tonight?
Well, first we have to go back to last week. Jaden Daniels told me that he believes that was his Heisman moment. He said after Caleb Jackson fumbled the kickoff return, he went up to him and said, "Don't worry, I got you." And then immediately following that is when he had his 51-yard touchdown that we showed you moments ago. He said he was in a different universe mentally, and he hopes to remain in that here tonight. Guys, he told me he wants to beat Joe Burrow's single-game touchdown record. Burrow had 8 TDs against Oklahoma in the 2019 semifinals, so potentially could Daniels have 9 here tonight? That would be a performance.
Yes, it would. QB5, one to watch for Georgia State from Atlanta. Marcus Carroll, I mean, he's a legitimate weapon in the backfield for head coach Sean Elliott. He's 3rd in the country in run yards.
Leads the country in rushes this year. He's been tremendous. Question is, can he do it against an SEC defense? That defense has been fairly porous, giving up rush yards this year. Marcus Carroll's going to put that to the test here tonight.
It is the final home game at night in Tiger Stadium in 2023. We're just about ready to go. Our opening kickoff is coming up next. Georgia State won the opening coin toss and has elected to receive inside Tiger Stadium. Panthers and Tigers meeting for the first time. LSU coming in ranked number 15 in the land. And it's already rocking. Nathan Dybert will kick things away. Tyleek Williams back deep to receive into the end zone, and the Panthers will get it at their own 25. And for Georgia State to have a chance as a massive underdog, Darren Granger's got to play some good ball tonight.
He certainly does, and when he's at his best, he's got a similar skill set to Jaden Daniels on the other side, with the ability to run the football, can make guys miss, accurate down the field. The thing it comes down to for him is going to be decision-making. A lot of RPOs in this Georgia State offense, as there are in every modern offense now. Can he make the right decision? When to spit it out wide to take the yardage that's given to him, and when to keep it or hand it off? That's going to be the biggest thing for him today.
Started his college career at Furman in the Southern Conference. Transferred to Georgia State. Empty backfield on first down. Just underway, and the quick toss to Robert Lewis, leading receiver. Shoved out short of the 30. That's a gain of about 5. Righty, we were told this week by Trent McKnight, the offensive play caller, and Sean Elliott as well, the head coach, Granger's got to take what's available. Distributing the football to the perimeter, the screen game. Hasn't been doing that as much in a recent 3-game losing streak. Has to do it tonight. Dual threat signal caller. He'll take off here. And a gain of a couple. Quickly, it's third down after a 3-yard gain.
It's a good decision by Granger. There was pressure up the middle by Jordan Jefferson. Just takes a couple yards, makes it a 3rd and short. But like this offense, like so many offenses, has things built into it. If you have an off corner on one of your receivers, you just spit it out to him really quickly and take the yardage. That's what I was referring to when they took the field. Now they got a big 3rd down though.
Marcus Carroll in the backfield. 4-man front movement. And perhaps a free play for Granger. He'll sling it downfield and caught on the back shoulder in traffic by Lewis. It was Thompson that brought it in. And at the 37, Granger found a way. And he knew he had a free play, Roddy.
He did. They did a great job with the hard snap count. And then a great catch on the back end by Kadarius Thompson.
Defense in the neutral zone at the time of the snap. Number 0. That penalty is declined. Result of play is first down.
And you're going to see the offsides by Mason Smith, clearly offsides. But a good throw by Darren Granger to give his receiver a chance down the field. That was against the freshman, Ashton Stamps, who's getting the start instead of another freshman, Javian Toviano, who they feel like is more of a safety.
It's a gain of 31. Georgia State in business. And fake the handoff. Jet sweep goes to Tyleek Williams. And a good-looking play picks up 5, and the Panthers on the move.
It's about as good a start as you could have imagined for Georgia State. Get a chunk play down the field. Feel good about yourself. The key for them now that you're in plus territory, get points off this drive to keep this crowd from getting fired up.
And they're still filing in. Carroll remains on the field. And another part of the quick screen game results in another first down, with Thompson again grabbing his 2nd reception and a 7-yard gain.
When this offense was last at their best was against Marshall back in the middle of October, and so much of it was just little screens like that to get 5 to 11 yards in chunks. And now they go with an interesting formation. 4 receivers bunched to the boundary.
Man coverage with Robert Lewis. Bottom of the screen, they'll head towards the bunch. And a quick toss results in more positive yards on first down. Marcus Carroll grabs it. Still running late. Now, LSU defensively, there have been some questions this year, and especially the 3 losses. They've given up some chunk plays and some big-time yards.
They've been really banged up on the back end, which has made them have to kind of sacrifice some things they want to do. They've had to be more simple in their coverages, play some guys in positions where they're not their best, try and get their best 11 on the field.
Carroll serves his pass protection, front pylon, end zone, and incomplete. Blanket coverage, and a late penalty marker comes in. Looking for Jakia's Cradle. He's back and healthy. This is going to be pass interference against the Tigers.
Pass interference. Defense, number 26. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Ashton Stamps, you mentioned the freshman, these first-year players anchoring this secondary.
Yeah, and there was a flinch on the defensive line. Jacoby and Guillory flinched, but it didn't look like he crossed the neutral zone. There was no flag for that. Darren Granger still thought he had a free play down the field, takes the shot, and they get bailed out by the Ashton Stamps pass interference. The freshman off to a tough start.
Carroll, the running back, they'll check with the sideline for the play call. Opening possession tonight. Georgia State has already clinched bowl eligibility. Granger dropped the snap, heaves it back corner. Almost a one-handed grab, but out of bounds. Incomplete. Looking for a cradle again.
And they brought in Javian Toviano on that boundary side, the other freshman who's played at that corner position in place of Ashton Stamps. One, he's a bigger body, 6'1", but two, you probably want to calm Ashton Stamps down. Good defense there by Toviano on that fade.
First incomplete pass for Granger. Second down and goal. Carroll shifts back in the backfield. Granger wants to throw it again. Surveys, throws it, touchdown. And the Panthers strike first. Tyleik Williams into the end zone. Fifth touchdown grab of the season.
How about this start for Georgia State, too? Shot downfield, you get a long catch, chunk play, and then able to put it in the end zone. It's just a little crosser. Greg Penn, the linebacker, tries to pick him up. Doesn't have the lateral quickness to stick with Tyleik Williams. Georgia State gets on the board.
75 yards in just over 3 minutes. Rickman on for the PAT. And our new score with 11:53 to go in the first quarter, 7-0. Georgia State all smiles on the sideline.
They certainly are. Darren Granger does a nice job sitting in the pocket, trying to find the open man. Delivers to Tyleik Williams. Georgia State ahead by 7.
Year 7 for Sean Elliott. Was a former assistant at South Carolina. In fact, the last time he was here in Death Valley was Steve Spurrier's last game as a head coach for the Gamecocks. He retired the next day. Sean Elliott took over. And he does have that resume that includes one upset at Georgia State on the road in the SEC to open the 2019 season against Tennessee. An impressive win that day in Knoxville in late August of 2019. Good start here on the road tonight in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, it certainly is. Maybe a dream start for Georgia State.
A touchdown pass for Granger now gives him 52 in his career with the Panthers. That is a new school record. And Caleb Jackson will watch that one carry him into the end zone. So an interesting start for the Heisman candidate. Jaden Daniels getting set to check in for the first time at QB5, as he's known in these parts. Numbers speak for themselves, and let's see what he can do with his first touch of the football, Roddy.
Well, if he picks up where he left off, it'll certainly be fireworks. Just look at the numbers that he has put up this season. You look at the number of total touchdowns. The most impressive stat to me is that he's almost 20 plays of 20-plus yards or more ahead of the number 2 person in the country. He's got 76. Next closest is Michael Penix, who's in the 50s.
Taylor motions out, and the pass incomplete in the flats, looking for Neighbors. Malik Neighbors leads the country in receiving yards. And it's 2nd and 10. Well, we are seeing a couple of weird scores popping up around the country late tonight. Inside give ahead to the 29, and that's it. Quickly, it's 3rd down after a 4-yard gain by Josh Williams.
Certainly are. And look, if you're LSU, you go down and give up a score. You just don't want to come out flat offensively. You want to kind of keep that momentum going. This is where Jaden Daniels' legs can be a big part of the game plan and give Georgia State some trouble.
3rd down and 6. Daniels accounted for over 600 total yards a week ago against Florida. He'll buy some time, flush to his right. This is where he's so dangerous. Cuts it back, picks up the first down. Jaden Daniels doing Jaden Daniels things. A 9-yard pickup on 3rd and 6.
Describe him as a slippery runner just because of little cuts. I mean, how many quarterbacks in this situation are either sliding or getting out of bounds? He says, no, thank you. Justin Abraham, please take a seat. I'm going to go get that first down.
Bayou Bengals have scored a touchdown on their last 4 possessions to start a game. Mike Denbrock calling plays. They've been riding a bit of a heater. Pressure. Daniels escapes again. There he goes. Daniels into the open field. Slippery would be an understatement for Jaden Daniels. 34 yards on first down there.
It was great pressure by Georgia State. And as the pocket collapses, I think one of Jaden Daniels' underrated skills, his ability to maneuver in the pocket, just avoids the rush. And then it's just about a little move here, a little move there. Make this guy miss, make that guy miss. Wisely get down at the end to protect himself. Jaden Daniels doing Jaden Daniels things.
Kane, the running back, on first down. LSU already at the 33. Tigers ranked 15th, the dump off. Mason Taylor plunging ahead across the 30. And a 5-yard gain. Well, LSU's been all about the explosive plays in 2023 and lead the country in explosive plays. And in fact, Jaden Daniels leads more than 131 teams in plays over 20 yards this year.
There's only 133 teams out there. I mean, good gracious. And his team's one of them.
On the flats, Lacey caroms out of bounds inside the 20. It's a first down for the Tigers and an 8-yard gain. Now, Kyron Lacey was talking with us a little bit pregame. We were taking a selfie down on the playing surface here, and he said, guys, say cheese. Appreciate that, Kyron. He was in a good mood, high spirits.
Was. Why wouldn't you be with a guy like this dishing it? He's a really good receiver that they haven't had to unleash because of how good Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. have been.
Lacey, Neighbors, and Thomas, the receivers. Fake it to Kane on the slant. There it is, and a touchdown. Malik Neighbors crossing the goal line from 18 yards out. 11th scoring grab of the season for number 8 in white, purple, white tonight.
Been talking so much about Jaden Daniels. We hadn't been able to get to Malik Neighbors, whose numbers are Bolitnikoff Award worthy this season. Marvin Harrison Jr. takes a lot of the oxygen out of the room when you talk about the best receivers in the country, but Malik Neighbors, numbers and production stand up with anybody.
5th straight game LSU has scored a touchdown on its opening possession. Ramos on for the point after. We are tied at 7. An explosive start. 6 minutes in for both sides.
It's off coverage. He's just able to get inside after he turns the defensive back's hips. It's not the perfect throw, but Neighbors has great hands, able to get in the end zone. Bayou Bengals answer, tied at 7 here in the first quarter.
Back at Baton Rouge, 9:20 remaining. Fast-moving first quarter. You see Brian Kelly there, second year. He's got 17 wins now in almost 2 full seasons. The 10-win campaign last year. In fact, he's won 10 or more in 6 straight seasons, going back to his days in South Bend, Indiana.
One of the best football coaches in the entire country, and if it weren't for a couple of bounces here or there, his team could be in a much different position, but he's done an excellent job at Notre Dame and here so far.
Tyleik Williams with a brief crease, shoved down to the 25. So we check out our drive recap presented by Rain-X. Jaden Daniels rushing for 38 yards on 2 long carries.
I mean, we saw him flash the legs on that first drive. His ability to make people miss is tremendous in the open field, navigating in the pocket and getting upfield. It's where he was so dangerous a week ago against Florida. And then the delivery to Malik Neighbors, great catch by Neighbors, rolling the hips back, being able to snag it and get in the end zone. LSU showing exactly why they are so dangerous on that side of the football.
Neighbors has taken you between the legs there after the score.
A little crossover action.
You know he can ball on the hardwood. You
Absolutely.
know he can.
Come on, athleticism like that.
Just watching him in pregame warmups, there were catches that were made that were highlight reel worthy. Panthers get it back. We're tied at 7, and Carroll brought down to the backfield. No gain on the play. Greg Penn with the tackle. 2nd and 10.
Question is, will Georgia State be able to get anything going in the box running the football? Because that kind of plays into the strengths of those LSU linebackers.
Tigers defense started to figure things out at a deeper level. A comeback win in Columbia against Mizzou. Defense has been a work in progress this year. Matt House would certainly tell you that. Brian Kelly would as well. Into the flats, incomplete. It's 3rd down. T-Mac.
And I will also tell you that Matt House and company busy trying to make adjustments after Georgia State's first drive there. A lot of talk about being more prepared and alert for the motion. Roddy, what did you see?
Yeah, so there was one of those screen passes. Amon Green goes in motion across the formation. They were able to get a chunk play. A lot of times when 85 for Georgia State, Amon Green goes in motion, the ball follows him. Didn't do a good job adjusting on that first drive.
Williams in motion here on third down. High snap corralled by Granger at the sticks, and that's caught. That should be enough to move the chains. Robert Lewis picks up 11 on third down and 10 against his LSU D.
It's a really nice route against a young cornerback, Jeremiah Hughes. LSU really young in that secondary. Robert Lewis, the experienced receiver, finds separation and gets a first down.
And we've talked about Ashton Stamps. Jeremiah Hughes, you saw there with the tackle. Javian Toviano as well. All true freshmen slotted in at corner. It's Sage Ryan that's played a multitude of positions. Marcus Carroll over the right side. 1 yard gain, and that's it. The tackle by Mason Smith. Well, halfway through our first quarter almost, tied at 7, and Georgia State trying to launch another scoring drive.
But the fact that Georgia State was able to put together a drive on that first drive, the fact that they have been able to stay on the field and bleed this clock some. We're halfway through this first quarter. LSU's only had the ball one time. That plays right into the visiting team's hands.
Screen on the move into the flats. Marcus Carroll made one defender miss, and there he goes. Marcus Carroll shoved out near the 47. That'll be a 10-yard gain and another first down. Andre Sam ushered him out that time.
And that was an example of exactly what Taylor McGregor said a second ago. Amon Green coming across the formation. LSU not able to properly leverage the motion. Marcus Carroll gets outside. Georgia State gets a big pickup.
I remember you talking about Amon Green about a month ago, and you love his versatility as a lead blocker, potentially as a pass catcher. But he lines up all over the field for Sean Elliott.
He certainly does. You'll see him inserted in between the guard and the center at times for this offense.
Granger rolls out, and a long pass results in a short gain with Robert Lewis picking up 2. Sage Ryan, the tackle.
And in that secondary, Sage Ryan's kind of been the story of the season, playing that field corner for LSU, but really played nickel and safety until injuries at corner really left them thin there.
Panthers in LSU territory again. Aaron Granger has broke a number of Georgia State records in the passing department. Told you about the touchdowns toss. Carroll leapfrogs over the line, shoved backwards after a gain of 2 more. It'll be third down near the 47, and it was Greg Penn that was there.
Another really good block by Amon Green, but the downhill running, that's where Greg Penn and Omar Speights, those two in-the-box linebackers for LSU, are so good. And then when you get in these third down situations, they're able to bring those situational pass rushers. Another interesting formation. 4 into the boundary for Georgia State, one-on-one to the field.
Trent McKnight digging a little deeper into his bag of tricks with the formations. Granger takes off the opposite way. Penalty marker comes in. Granger stopped at the line to gain. A lot of times that flag in the area of holding, and we'll see.
Holding, offense, number 52. 10-yard penalty, remains third down.
So that was Travis Glover. That negates a potential first down.
Yeah, the left tackle Travis Glover. Darren Granger is trying to suck the linebackers up so that when he breaks outside, you can't get there. He just grabs the jersey of Paris Shand. Granger's able to get outside because of that hold, and it knocks Georgia State back to a third and, what's that, 3rd and 16?
It's a long ways to go down here.
It's a lot longer than it was a second ago.
Indeed. Carroll, the running back, on 3rd and long. Straight up the gut. Upended near the original line of scrimmage, and that's it. Gain of 7. Omar Speights met him with authority, and it'll be 4th down, and Sean Elliott you would imagine, electing to punt.
Marcus Carroll's a really good back, and it's easy to second guess cuts on a running back because we have a different perspective, but he's going to look at that one and want it back. Cut it to the right. Had he cut to the left after he broke the line of scrimmage, it's one-on-one with the safety, and then you have an opportunity potentially to pick up the first down. But LSU gets the stop, forces a punt.
Gregory Clayton back deep to receive. Cade Loggins will punt it away for Georgia State. Low line drive fielded by the up back cleanly near the 20. Brought down at the 47. A heads-up play for LSU as we step aside. Tigers have it. Outstanding field position after a 26-yard punt return. Well, Jayden Daniels perhaps on the verge of more history tonight as we take a look at some of the quarterbacks that have thrown for 3,000, rushed for 1,000 yards in the same season, kind of where they fit in the Heisman Trophy race. Deshaun Watson back in 2015 finished third. You look at Lamar Jackson, what he was able to do at Louisville. Of course, he won it in 2016. Came back the next season, did it all over again, put up huge numbers. Not able to win it back-to-back years, of course. Only Archie Griffin has been able to do that. Baker Mayfield from Oklahoma claimed the title that year. Kyler Murray, also an OU passer, 3,000, 1,000. He won the Heisman Trophy in 2018. Jalen Hurts as well started his career at Bama, then at OU. Finished second in the Heisman Trophy voting. By most accounts, Roddy Jones, Jayden Daniels figures to have a ticket to New York City. Question is, can he win it this year? Part of that answer could be revealed tonight. He's already got 44 rush yards. 38 rush yards, rather. 44 away from 1,000 on the year. He'll escape the pocket for more on that play, but a penalty marker comes in.
Holding offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
The Heisman discussion around Jayden Daniels has been super interesting because obviously the losses that LSU has taken have hurt. You see the holding in the middle of your screen, but the numbers that he's put up are undeniable. So it feels like just about everybody has him in their top three. The question is, can he get enough to pass a Bo Nix, who is phenomenal, a Michael Penix, who's playing right now, to win it?
Josh Williams over the left side after the holding penalty on Miles Frazier. He'll race across the 45, an 8-yard gain and a good secondary effort for number 27. So 44 rush yards away from 1,000 yards here tonight. We'll see if he can get there. Become the 11th FBS player all time to reach those numbers. And a timeout called by Georgia State.
Timeout, Georgia State. They're first of the half.
3:15 to go in our first quarter. 2nd and 12 coming up for the Tigers when we come back to Tiger Stadium.
The playoff race is so wide open.
Who's going to survive the gauntlet?
College football playoff top 25, Tuesday on ESPN.
Oh, we can't wait for it back here in Tiger Stadium. Golden Band from Tigerland. Working hard on a Saturday night. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor on site in Baton Rouge. Trey Holly checks in at running back for the Tigers. He'll get it on the swing. And Holly sandwiched between a couple of defenders. He'll push the pile a couple of yards. That was impressive for the freshman. Give him 5 on the play. It'll be 3rd down.
It was a great individual effort by Holly. As Jordan Vinzial, his helmet came off, so he's got to come off. But LSU's blocking on the perimeter was tremendous a week ago. A couple missed blocks there, but Holly just pushing as much as he can to get all he can. Never actually tackled him.
Still dancing out of bounds. 3rd and 7. Daniels so dangerous. Flips it out. Josh Williams, that's a first down and a lot more. Plows his way across the 35. A penalty marker comes in back at the 46. For now, it's a gain of 17, and this penalty against the Tigers. Kyle Olson leads our veteran officiating crew in the SEC tonight.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The ball was first touched behind the line of scrimmage. Result of play is first down.
LSU remains on the move. No penalty. They'll spot it down to the 32.
So we'll see where the offensive pass interference comes. It's going to be on that mesh route. Mason Taylor going one way, and you've got Aaron Anderson going the other. I don't actually think the ball was touched behind the line of scrimmage first, but nonetheless, LSU gets away with the natural pick, if you will.
Mason Taylor, the target on that last pass by Jaden Daniels. It's incomplete. It's 2nd and 10. Kind of a quiet start in Baton Rouge tonight after that fast start by Georgia State. Grabbed the early 7-0 lead. LSU quickly responded. Panthers punted on their next possession, and here come the Tigers now with Daniels at the controls. He surveys, heaves one deep, has a man. Incomplete. Aaron Anderson was breaking open, and number 1 couldn't quite catch up to that deep ball.
Typically, Jaden Daniels so good with his deep ball accuracy. Has had a couple that he's missed over the last few games, but those are big-time minorities. They're trying to cover him. It's cover 2, and they're trying to cover him with a defender from underneath. Ronald Cooper trying to play inside, gets beat over the top, not able to connect.
Josh Williams, the running back, on 3rd and 10. Analytics tell you LSU should go for it. They can pick up at least 6 yards here. Plus side of the field, Daniels fires another strike. Ball pops out. Who has it? Mason Taylor caught the pass cleanly, and then the ball ricocheted out. LSU thinks that they jumped on top of it, and let's see. And they did, and it's enough for a first down.
Oh, what a play by Mason Taylor to get back on it. Question is, did he control it for long enough? I think that's a catch and a fumble. It's close, but he ends up having firm control of it. Makes a move common to the game that sort of getting away from the defender.
Covered by the offense. The result of the play is a first down.
Well, it was John Trey Hunter that pried it loose. He's got NFL potential, and Sean Elliott told him this week, you think you can play in the league? We're going to find out Saturday night. It's a pretty good play and a heads-up play by one in white.
It certainly is. LSU's been tremendous at not turning the ball over. Only 7 turnovers lost all year. That's 6th best in the country.
Taylor collects the fumble. Noah Kane in at running back. A pistol look for Daniels. He'll keep it into the flats. And Neighbors, a nifty move. Shoved hard out of bounds with a penalty marker down.
What a sloppy drive for LSU.
It's a gain of 17. Here comes the penalty.
Ineligible receiver downfield. Offense number 86. He was covered up. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Brian Kelly pleading his case, and Mason Taylor involved in a lot in these last couple of plays.
So Mason Taylor's the guy who's covered up. The thing that's important, though, is where does Malik Neighbors catch this ball? Because if he catches it behind the line of scrimmage, there's no illegal man downfield. I thought he did catch it behind the line of scrimmage. I thought the line of scrimmage was about the 21-yard line. I thought he caught it right there, or maybe at the 22.
Take one more look.
Watch where Neighbors catch the football. So the line of scrimmage is the 21-yard line. He catches it. I mean, that's either right at the 21 or right past it. Honestly, that was more behind line of scrimmage than the Josh Williams one.
That previous play is under video review.
All right, so the replay booth is going to take a look. Daniel Boldrick. Look at some of the same footage that we were just examining, and it is close. And keep in mind, the call on the field was the ineligible receiver down the field. There's got to be indisputable video evidence.
So the line to gain is the line of scrimmage is the 21-yard line. Neighbors does a good job of getting back up to that yard line. When he touches the ball, he's behind. His hands are behind the 21-yard line. His feet may be right at the 21, but that's a reception behind the line of scrimmage. I think that's pretty indisputable. The question is, do the officials feel that way? There's not a shot right down the line showing exactly where he was. Earlier in the game, we got the Josh Williams illegal man downfield. I thought that one was, maybe a yard past the line of scrimmage. This one, I think, is behind the line of scrimmage.
The other question I would have for you, and that's a great look. Unofficial lines there indicating the line of scrimmage, by the way. If he catches it on the line of scrimmage, is that deemed a penalty, or does it have to be behind is valid, then at the line it's not?
Yeah, I think it's at or behind the line of scrimmage. That would be the interpretation that I believe is in the rule book. I could be wrong, but at or behind the line of scrimmage is typically the rule.
Well, it's 22 yards one way or another. Gain of 17 by Neighbors, who makes it look so easy in so many different ways, or the penalty, which brings it back 5, negating the 17-yard pickup.
Usually when you get these line of scrimmage things, like think of a legal forward pass. Every piece of the quarterback has to be past the line of scrimmage in order for it to be a legal forward pass.
After video review, the ball was called behind the line of scrimmage. Therefore, it's no ineligible receiver downfield. Result of play is a first down.
You are batting 1,000 tonight, my friend.
Thank goodness.
I feel like I learned a little something there as well, so thank you for that. First down, Tigers, and LSU knocking on the door again. Jane Daniels has already accounted for 1 touchdown tonight through the air. And Malik Neighbors, well, leads the planet in receiving yards this year. The yak is awfully impressive as well.
It's really what separates him from a lot of other receivers in the country. His ability after the catch is tremendous.
Williams, the running back. Thomas goes in motion. He'll get it, dropped it. And it'll be tackled behind the line of scrimmage. Well, Brian Thomas Jr. hasn't touched it really until now. He'll back him up all the way to the 14.
And it looked like it was going to be a double reverse. They just fumbled a handoff, but there was a receiver coming from that left side who was going to be behind. It was going to be Malik Neighbors that looked like he was either going to be faked to or get a second handoff.
Perhaps a Bayou special coming on that play.
Oh, man.
Could be the final play of the quarter. 2nd and goal from around the 15. Daniels wants to take off, and he does with real estate, and a touchdown. My God, he makes it look so easy. .22 games now with 1 passing touchdown and 1 rushing touchdown, at least in the same game. Ties Bo Nix, another Heisman contender in that category for their respective careers. 53 yards and 9 plays. And Jane Daniels, 52 yards rushing, 17 yards per touch. Thrown for a touch, ran for another one.
The most impressive thing, there's not a lot of room up the middle here, and Jaden Daniels just manages it. And then when he sees a little daylight, the acceleration, Vinzi all dives. You had Tyjee Leach dive for him, but just the acceleration in the hole to be able to get outside without anybody laying a finger on him. Roy, if that was flag football, that's a touchdown. Nobody would have been able to pull his flag. And there it was a phone booth at one point in time in the middle there. It just shows how great a feel he has and the acceleration that he has when he decides to run the football. 6 straight drives resulting in that touchdown, not including the victory formation, of course, because we don't count those drives.
We do not. He glides, he's slippery, he floats, he scores.
Well, and the thing that he's not given credit for is he is explosive through all of that.
Diver will kick things away again. Tyleik Williams waves for the fair catch, and that one sails over his head. Shop with Google is a proud sponsor of ESPN College Football. Now the $1 million smile of one Jaden Daniels. And he is nowhere close to being done tonight or next week in the early kick against Texas A&M. could be the final play of the quarter now. Aaron Granger back on the field for Georgia State.
He wins a Heisman. That might be a multi-million-dollar smile.
He had the bling on yesterday as we sat down with Jaden for well over an hour inside the indoor practice facility. Marcus Carroll rumbles ahead. And a 3-yard gain is our final play of the first quarter. LSU leading Georgia State by 7. And the Tigers trying to win their 8th game. 11 games into this season. There was a penalty marker that came in late.
Some extracurricular activities after the play.
A lengthy conversation here. The 2nd and 7 when we start the second quarter.
To the boundary, it looked like Javian Toviano, who we just showed, was involved in it. I think number 85, Amon Green, was too. It didn't quite see who was the party who was initiating, and I didn't see who the party would have been flagged was, but those two guys were getting into it a little bit.
There are 2 fouls after the play. Personal foul, LSU, number 25. Personal foul, Georgia State, number 17. Those fouls offset. That is the end of the quarter.
It's Casey Adams and Toviano. And they got the number wrong on that one, I believe. As we step aside, 15 minutes in, Brian Kelly talking things over with his freshman quarterback. Tigers have won 7 straight when leading after 1.
Here with Georgia State head coach Sean Elliott. Coach, what were your thoughts on that call right there?
I mean, come on, double personal fouls. I mean, what are we doing? Let these guys play, or doggone, let's call the game the right way. Right now, the first quarter's played pretty well for us. We got to continuously do what? We got to put a hat on that quarterback. That's probably the difference right now in us. I mean, we got great momentum. I think our kids are playing hard. We got confidence. We got to go out here and make a play offensively.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. Roy?
Taylor, thank you. Robert Lewis around the left side. He'll pick up a first down.
I love that we catch Sean Elliott in that moment, because he's full coach mode. We got to do what? I'm going to tell you we got what we got to do. That's 100% coach right there.
He's chill when you talk to him leading into a game, and fun to talk to. Pre-game, he turns into an animal. He'll butt heads with his players during flex and pre-game warm-ups, and he's getting after folks. But I think we were looking forward to that interview after the first quarter all week, knowing we were going to touch base with him there. Here's Marcus Carroll. He's going to rumble for another big play for the Panthers into LSU territory. Give him 20 yards, and Elliott pregame. Look, he's getting lathered up a little bit here, Roddy.
Yeah, that's defensive coordinator Chad Stagg's son, who gets tossed on the ground.
What are we doing?
Coach, I mean, the kid's like a closet LSU fan. He's just happy to be here, and he gets thrown on the ground.
If you're just tuning in, Georgia State jumped out to an early 7-0 lead, 14 unanswered now by the Tigers. Panthers on the move. From the 43, Granger off the back foot, nothing doing, and no gain on the play. May have lost a yard, Taylor.
Talk about Sean Elliott with emotion. I've seen it on the sidelines prior to this drive and prior to when I was talking to him. He was up in the faces of us offensive linemen saying we got to manage them, we got to hold them, and give us better run lanes. But you can imagine with a lot more emotion than I just said right there.
No question. 2nd and 12.
At some point during this game, they are going to have to find some run game up the middle. It plays into the hands of LSU, though. They are massive at defensive tackle, and those 2 linebackers may not be the most athletic sideline to sideline, but they're pretty good pluggers in the box. But Georgia State's got to figure out something there to get Marcus Carroll involved.
Williams in motion. Georgia State just 2.3 yards per rush. Before this play, you asked for it. Marcus Carroll delivers for the touchdown. One of the top ground gainers in the country, as Tiger Stadium goes silent once again.
Well, they spread it out, and the center, Avery Reese, gets a nice block. Amon Green, my guy, inserting up the middle, goes up to the linebacker, and then there's nobody there. This LSU defense has given up a ton of rush yards this year, 172 per game, second worst in the SEC. Marcus Carroll takes advantage of it.
13th score of the season. That's a new school record for Georgia State. And Rickman on for the point after. We are tied at 14.
And just a little bit of daylight. Marcus Carroll able to get up the field, churning into the end zone to tie it at 14. And look, Pylon Camp didn't deserve that.
Tigers known for their big plays this year. It's Georgia State that has more plays of 20 yards or further so far. 3-1. We're tied at 14. Roddy Jones, Roy Philpott, Taylor McGregor back in Baton Rouge. Marcus Carroll just scored from 44 yards out. And an interesting start here in the Deep South in the SEC. Kone sends a wobbler that lands out of bounds. A good starting field position coming for LSU. Kyle Olson with the call.
There are multiple fouls on the play. Free kick out of bounds. Kicking team. After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team. That 15 yards will be added from the 35-yard line. First down.
Let's check in with Kevin Connors.
All right, Roy, AT&T is keeping fans connected with our multi-view over on ABC right now. A game with even more importance given the injury to Jordan Travis. Washington and Oregon State 16-10 game in the conditions. Michael Penix has thrown for one and run for one. Florida, Missouri's on ESPN. Kentucky, South Carolina on the SEC network. And Georgia Tech up 14-3 on Syracuse on the ACC network. Roy.
KC, I think he said that just because Roddy Jones is calling this game. His Jackets off to a good start. Maybe trying to get to a bowl game this year with Brent Key.
In a good mood.
It did. Well, the personal foul came in after the kick went out of bounds.
The personal foul was against LSU. 15 yards from the 35-yard line. The ball was placed at the 20-yard line.
Wow, what a swing. So the free kick out of bounds is going to put the ball on the 35-yard line. The way they initially called it was against Georgia State, which meant LSU would have started on the 50, but it clearly was against LSU. So LSU now starts on the 20 on a free kick out of bounds. Swing of 30 yards there.
Deshaun Womack, it looked like, was the guilty party. So the Tigers start at their own 20 instead of near midfield. As we sent it to studio, Roddy indicated it wasn't two fouls on Georgia State. It was one on each side.
Because the free kick out of bounds happens during the play and the personal foul happens after the play, both penalties are administered. Lots of conversation, lots of penalties. Been real sloppy.
Sloppy start. It does feel that way. From the 20, Caleb Jackson, the freshman running back, joins Jaden Daniels in the backfield. Daniels will throw it quickly. Chris Hilton Jr. dropped it. 2nd and 10.
And it just feels like LSU, and Brian Kelly is obviously not happy. It feels like LSU is a little sleepy to start. Offensively, they've been okay, but it's mostly been Jaden Daniels running the football himself. Defensively, I mean, they have been completely asleep, it feels like.
Taylor motions in on 2nd and 10. Jackson remains the running back. Daniels wants to throw it after Hilton checked out. Back the other way. That's a first down. Malik Neighbors running. There he goes. Into Georgia State territory. Gain of 33. And that'll wake him up in a hurry.
He always has a plan after he catches the ball for the run after the catch. It's a great route. 5 yards of separation on a stop route. That's insane. But he knows where he's going to go with the football. And if he's got the ball in the other hand, he probably breaks that tackle from Justin Abraham. and is able to go even further.
Timeout, Georgia State. Their second of the half.
We'll step aside after the Georgia State timeout. We're tied at 14 in Baton Rouge. Well, next door to Malik Neighbors is Brian Thomas Jr. Pick your poison between these two. They are elite at wide receiver.
2 first-round receivers. The thing about Malik Neighbors is everything that a receiver does on the football field, he makes look easy. Effortless athlete, great speed, great after the catch. And then you pair him with Brian Thomas Jr., who at 6'4", 205, is an absolute burner, shooting up draft boards, runs right by a corner, and then the ability to close. They form an excellent tandem of 2 guys that are likely first-round draft picks this season, or this upcoming NFL draft. Thomas has been quiet tonight. Neighbors never is. But I assume that Brian Thomas Jr., the guy they call BT, is going to get going here pretty soon.
No question. In the backfield was Williams. He'll catch the pass, power his way for a first down, and 2 penalty markers come in. Gain of 18 for the time being, and this play coming back.
I think they're going to get Malik Neighbors on a hold here.
You can feel this crowd trying to get into it in every big play. And penalty marker has stopped some of that.
During the run, holding, offense, number 8. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Remains first down.
Hey, Taylor.
Well, guys, when you talk about Malik Neighbors not being shy on the field here tonight, he's also not shy about saying that he wants to win the Biletnikoff Award. And him and Daniels together collectively had no problem saying the individual awards they want to win this season. It started in summer. They would train together and then motivate each other when it came to, hey, you want to win the Heisman, do 5 more reps, and so on and so forth.
First down, the swing pass. Neighbors dives his way for 7. Jeremiah Johnson brought him down.
The thing that stood out about the way the coaches talked about Malik Neighbors, Mike Denbrock told us, it's easy to coach a group when your best player in that group, Malik Neighbors, is your hardest worker. Talked about how competitive he is and how much a leader he is. And it's stuff like Taylor just said, the extra reps, the extra things that it takes to hold up that LSU wide receiver standard he does on a daily basis.
Lacey motioned in on 2nd and short. Caleb Jackson straight ahead. That's enough for a first down. Yeah, setting the standard was one of the phrases that Brian Kelly told us a couple of times yesterday over the practice facilities. Like, these young guys are trying to learn from pros like Malik Neighbors, and, you know, quite frankly, they haven't lived up to his work ethic at this point in the season, but they do feel like that they're starting to make some strides. From the 36, empty backfield, Jaden Daniels quick strike. Taylor has it. And he'll be spun down short of the 25. A gain of 10 right at the line to gain. It should be enough for a first down.
It's good quick decision and delivery by Jaden Daniels. Really quick processing with his eyes, going straight to Mason Taylor, who hasn't been quite as involved this season in the offense from a pass catching standpoint as maybe we anticipated coming into the season, but still has been tremendous doing the dirty work that a tight end has to do.
They rolled him about 2 inches short. Sean Elliott's going to call a timeout. The Georgia State defense will talk things over.
Georgia State, their 3rd and final timeout of the half.
Jaden Daniels, LSU on the move, a tie game, just over 10 to go in our first half in Baton Rouge. Hey, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, the Countdown crew, the ESPN app, have all the early breaking stories, injury updates, and previews each and every game right up until kickoff. And, of course, Monday Night Football. KC, the place to be. Super Bowl 57, the rematch. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, Patrick Mahomes, the Kelsey brothers, Chiefs, Eagles, 8 Eastern, ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and, of course, Peyton and Eli on ESPN2. Out of the timeout, 2nd and short. Daniels fires another strike for another touchdown. Lacey corrals it. And the Tigers back in front. Malik Neighbors, a touchdown grab Kyron Lacey, another one. Jaden Daniels has raced in for a score. He's accounted for 3 touchdowns so far. And 65 yards in 7 plays. That last score coming from 27 yards out.
It's a really nice job of Kyron Lacey bending it inside the safety. You get a 2-safety look, so the gap is in the middle. What a seed thrown by Jaden Daniels. Right on the face mask of Lacey. Fights it just a little bit, but brings it in for the touchdown. Hey, a little Justin Jefferson tribute, a little gritty. As you get in the end zone.
Just a slight gritty.
Yeah, just a little light work on the gritty.
We got squabble, we got gritty, we got all kinds of dances out there.
None of which I can do, but
same.
How about those drives by LSU? The big thing for Georgia State is that they've made LSU work for it a little bit. 7 plays, 9 plays, 7 plays. The bad news is that they've all ended in touchdowns.
We talked a lot with Jaden Daniels yesterday about how he has surged this season. The transfer coming in from Arizona State. Things really started to change the more he got involved in VR, virtual reality. We'll dive more into that as we get deeper into this game, but it's basically a cheat code as he goes through his progressions in real time or either faster than real time. The day before the game, multiple days before the game, and as many as 3 times a week. And a fascinating conversation to come as that kickoff sails through the end zone. We'll check in again with the studio. Kevin Connors.
All right, Roy, time for your Chick-fil-A move on the field in soggy Corvallis. Sam, this is Michael Penix to Rome Odunze a second time.
Their second touchdown connection. Rome Odunze. Notice Penix looks off the safety. Rome Odunze does the rest.
Huskies trying to get to 11-0 over on ABC with the Apple Cup on deck. It's 22-10. UW, Roy.
Casey, you know LSU fans are paying attention there to see what Michael Penix is doing because Penix could emerge as the front runner for the Heisman if he puts together a strong performance in Corvallis. Washington stays undefeated. And Amon Green upended after a short gain of just 1. And it was Harold Perkins greeted him rudely that time.
Yes, he did. Harold Perkins, one of those guys this season that's been playing at a position that's probably not his absolute best, but has done a really nice job at that sort of nickel Sam position where he's out in space to the field typically. Made a ton of tackles this year, so his pass rush numbers aren't the same, but his impact on this defense has been really large.
Marcus Carroll motions out. Granger goes forward. Upended near the 30. And we'll check in again with Taylor McGregor.
Just to continue to add about Harold Perkins Jr. on the sideline here before this drive, LSU's defense has been searching, going through different plays, and it was Perkins who really stood out to me as the leader, going up to different guys, encouraging them, being the vocal guy, like, let's go, we have to pick this up.
Sophomore from New Orleans. 13 TFLs this year, top 5 in the SEC. 3rd down and 5, under 9 to go in our first half.
He's in the middle. Harold Perkins in the middle of your screen. Number 4, kind of right there. See if he comes or if he stays back.
Granger flush. Granger floats it. Pass caught by Carroll. That's a chain mover ahead of the 45. Well, he bought a little time, threw a strike. Drive continues for the Panthers.
Well, the scramble, watch Harold Perkins on the left side of your screen. He's going to move outside of Marcus Carroll as Granger scrambles, and it just opens up that little bit of space. You don't love the throw back over the middle if you're a quarterback late, but there's so much room on a 3rd down. It's a good job of Granger getting outside of the pocket, moving the defender, and delivering back to the field.
Not buying any of that. You're a running back. You loved it, getting the football even if it was late.
I know, and I probably would have done what Marcus Carroll did. You're in the middle of the field, and you're thinking, oh, my goodness, I got to get down. Somebody's going to hit me. Didn't realize he had acres of space.
Carroll again. They'll try him over the right side. 1-yard pickup crossing the 45, and that's about it. You know, Georgia State, the threat of the run, they had the one long gain by Carroll. And he can get going at any point in time. And we've talked about LSU defensively. It's been porous against the run this year. Feels like it's important for Trent McKnight to stay with the ground game, even if you only gain a yard or 2 on 1st or 2nd down.
You have to do it at least some, but again, it does play into the strength of LSU against his team. They are still massive up front. Georgia State may have a tough time blocking them.
Here's Robert Lewis with blockers. That's another 1st down for the Panthers. Well, the team from the Sun Belt playing well on the road here in Baton Rouge. And he'll pick up 11 more on that play.
You know, it's kind of counterintuitive to say, because LSU's been so bad against the run this year, to say that it plays to their strengths, but their size can give Georgia State trouble. The way you equalize that is by tossing it to the perimeter, because LSU hasn't been the best tackling team, and they don't run particularly well sideline to sideline. So that's where Georgia State can have consistent success coupled with the threat of the run.
Panthers have lost 3 straight coming in. Granger will try to get to the edge, turns the corner, and bumped out near the 35, so a gain of 7 more on first down.
It's a good read by Darren Granger, and it's another example. I mean, he's able to get outside and turn the corner pretty easily.
Officially a gain of 8. Under 7 to go in the second quarter. You can feel Granger starting to gain some confidence after he struggled the last couple of weeks. Georgia State's coming off a home loss to Appalachian State. They were down 42-0 at one point. It was in the rain in Atlanta, Old Turner Field. Marcus Carroll on 2nd and short. He keeps those legs moving. Didn't need much. And that will be enough for a first down. So Carroll, the senior from Union City, Georgia, Hapeville High School. Brian Kelly kind of searching for answers. His team up by 7. Texas A&M coming up next week.
Georgia State's done exactly what they wanted to do. They've taken this crowd out of the game. I don't know if this crowd has ever been in the game, but it is absolutely dead in this stadium because Georgia State's been able to move the football, bleed the clock, limit the possessions. And that's the recipe for stopping LSU offensively. Keep them off the field.
Mon Green will serve as a lead blocker on the right side, and no crease that time for Carroll. Omar Speights met him. No gain on the play.
Really good job by Speights. Carroll tried to get skinny in the hole, hug his block, make the linebacker miss, but Speights closes down the gap. There's a little bit of a gap here right as the hole opens up. Speights just makes sure he squeezes it, pins him against the offensive lineman. Well done by the linebacker.
Transfer from Oregon State. 2nd and 10. And bunch formation for Georgia State once again near the top of the screen. And Sean Elliott calls a timeout. Unhappy on the far side, and a penalty marker came in right before he was able to call it.
Yeah, I mean, it is rare that they are not granted the timeout in
and
that
he was
situation.
out of timeout, so that was my mistake.
Oh,
yeah, he was actually out.
He tried to call him.
He was mad about it one way or another.
I don't know why it took them so long to get that call, and Darren Granger was staring at the sideline for a long time.
2nd and 15. And inside give Carroll. Brought down to the 35, a gain of 2. There's Harold Perkins again. So LSU starting to get some more plays from that linebacking core with Speights and Perkins. And it's 3rd down and long.
Gotta wonder if you're Georgia State, you can get it close enough. You know, 4th and 4, 4th and 3. Do you decide to go for it here? At LSU shifting around. They often check with me on these 3rd downs.
Analytics suggests Georgia State needs it to 4th and 5 or less to go for it. Need about 7 or 8 yards here. Granger rolls out, floats a pass that's caught well short of the line to gain. It's Tyleik Williams again. Well, gain of 4, decision time now for Sean Elliott.
It's a pretty conservative play call for Georgia State. I mean, you're hoping for a little catch and run, but you can't count on that. Now you're in a situation, I mean, you're 4th and long. It's probably too long for a field goal, but it's really long to expect to convert.
Panthers 7 of 14 on 4th down this season. They'll go for it.
Remember, they are out of timeouts as well, so they are going for it. Gotta hurry up. Play clock's running down.
Under 3 seconds. Granger has it. Here comes the pressure. He'll float one deep, looking for Lewis. It was right in the basket. I'm not sure he saw it, and it's incomplete. Now the coverage by Toviano, that is one the Panthers would love to have back.
It's a great throw by Darren Granger, and you can't blame the receiver. If he doesn't see it, he doesn't see it, but what a missed opportunity. Stick your hands out, and you've got a touchdown. Stop for the LSU defense, but a big miss for Georgia State.
Kevin Connors in studio. Coming up on the DirecTV halftime report, we'll have much more on the devastating injury to Jordan Travis and how it impacts number 4 Florida State. Plus, number 1, 2, and 3 all victorious sets up the big one in Ann Arbor next week. And the play, performance, and moment that made Sam Acho go Acho mind coming up, Roy, at the half.
Can't wait for it. Kevin Connors, thank you. Back to live action. Thomas breaking open, hauls it in. Thomas tripped up, but it's still a touchdown for the Tigers. #14th touchdown grab of the season for Brian Thomas Jr.
Just straight speed from Brian Thomas, runs right by the corner, Brykees Brown. Question is, does he maintain control until he passes the goal line? It is an absolute yes. Are those knees off the ground? It is an absolute yes. What an effort by Brian Thomas Jr. Great throw.
The Superman dive at the finish.
How about that?
Give him 6.
Give him 6'4" because he needed all of it to get in the end zone.
Now we talked to Mike Denbrock and Brian Kelly about the skill set for Brian Thomas Jr.
The rolling on the field of a touchdown is under video review.
And the word that was used on multiple occasions, freakish. He's the most freakish athlete we have on this team, and you think about that for a moment with Jaden Daniels, with Malik Neighbors, and a host of others. They're saying that about number 11. What are the scouts going to tell us next April?
He's 6'4", 205 pounds. Who knows what he'll run, but it's going to be fast. The question is, did he cross the goal line? Are those elbows down before he crosses? Look, I don't think so. I think the angles that we have shown are tremendous. But you asked about next April, what the scouts going to say. I mean, I think this guy's a first-round pick. You don't find humans that are that large and run that fast. And when you do, you got to pick them to be on your team. Let's take a look and see what hits first. Looks like those elbows are down first. I think he's already across. We certainly can't see the goal line and whether or not he's crossed from that angle.
It's got to be indisputable video evidence, of course.
Indisputable. And look, the beautiful thing is we got pylon cam, so we have a shot right down the line to be able to see. But you can see the ball, the bottom of the ball hits, and when the bottom of the ball hits, it's across, it's broken the plane of the goal line.
That's probably the best look we have.
Love me some pylon cam look.
Well, it's another big play for 11. He's got now what? 7, 8 touchdowns from 30 yards out or further. That leads the FBS. So he continues to pile on the stats in that department. Neighbors has the yards. He's also double-digit touchdowns this season. Thomas has more points on the board, but either way, devastating duo.
And they do it in different ways. They complement each other really well. There's obviously comparisons to the great duo from a few years ago.
After video review, the ruling on the field of a touchdown stands.
The comparisons to Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are obvious. Look, they don't do it in the same ways that those two guys did, but they are just as effective as those two guys were for this LSU Tigers team.
Ramos back on for the PAT. LSU's had the football on 4 different occasions tonight, and each time they have scored a touchdown. And don't look now, but Jaden Daniels talking about trying to break Joe Burrow's record with our crew this week. All of a sudden, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 on the ground. And you mentioned the comparison between this version of the Tigers and the 2019 version at wide receiver.
Those stats for Neighbors and Thomas are coming into this game. The one that shocked me was the games where they each had 100+ receiving yards. I would have thought Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase had more than just 2. Neighbors and Thomas, 4 on the season. You can add a couple of touchdowns to their tally. It's unbelievable the track that they're on between or compared to what 2 of the best receivers in the NFL did in that special 2019 season.
A historic offensive performance that year, and this version has been sensational. Just 1 catch for Thomas. It went for 70 and the score moments ago. Dybert back on the field. An efficient start for the LSU offense, a 14-point advantage. Defense will try to get the job done here as Georgia State gets it at its own 25. All season long, student sections across the country are competing to be the Taco Bell Live Más Student Section of the Year. Download the Taco Bell app to learn more. Here in Death Valley, quiet start. Georgia State jumped out to a 7-point lead, and so everybody's kind of wondering what's happening here in Death Valley. But since then, Tigers have righted the ship a little bit, but let's see what the defense can do here.
The real thing has been the defense. The offense is a perfect 4 for 4 when they've had the football, putting the ball in the end zone. Defense comes up with a stop here. Now you've got a chance to put this game to a place where people feel a lot more comfortable.
And how big was that miss by Robert Lewis on that last drive on 4th down? Pop pass to Lewis here. Chance to redeem himself. Turns the corner and sent out of the 47, but a marker down at the 27. Technically a pass caught. Another big gainer. This one likely coming back.
During the run, holding, offense, number 16, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Remains first down.
And that was Tyleik Williams on the edge that helped spring Robert Lewis that time.
We've seen on the perimeter the holding called a couple of times. Harold Perkins, as the defender, tries to disengage. The clear pull of the jersey wasn't for long, but it was just enough to get the holding call.
Good night for Williams. A couple of catches. Instrumental in those 2 scoring drives by the Panthers. These teams have never met before tonight. It'll be 1st and 18. Right it off to Carroll. Jump cut. Nearly broke that when a shoestring tackle, a gain of 6. Major Burns brought him down, and Carroll wanted more that time. Nearly got it.
And you can see, I love the little moves by the running back to hug the offensive lineman, hug that block to get skinny past the defender. Major Burns barely gets the shoestrings of Carroll, or else it's a foot race.
Panthers at 6-4, 3-4 in the Sun Belt. Got off to a school record start of 5-1. Moved to 6-1 with a road win at Louisiana. Different story since then. Granger straight ahead, and not this time. 2nd and 12 becomes 3rd, and a little bit longer. And a timeout called by LSU.
Timeout.
And look at Jordan Jefferson in the middle of your screen. He just runs right over the center, Avery Reese. And that's why I've been saying you have to get something going running the football, but it plays to the strength of LSU because they've got massive bodies. Jordan Jefferson, 317 there in the middle, running right over the center. It's going to be tough for Georgia State to contend with that, so can you find creative ways to get past it?
LSU thin at defensive tackle. Jefferson's quietly had a pretty good season. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, you can watch the live performance, the Golden Band from Tigerland on SEC Network Plus. Start streaming now on the ESPN app. I think Jefferson, as thin as LSU has been at defensive tackle, has kind of been that mainstay there where you feel like you can lean on him, count on him for that run-stuffing ability.
Yeah, the injury to Mekhi Wingo certainly hurts them there. But against a team like Georgia State, a team from the Sun Belt, the fact that you have a guy 6'4", 317, Mason Smith 6'6", 315, the other starter, but Jacobian Guillory is over 300 pounds. Jalen Lee well over 300 pounds. It's tough for those interior linemen to deal with that.
Williams motions out. Third down and long for Georgia State. Long throw right at the line to gain, but coming back to make the catch. About a yard short, a 12-yard pickup for Robert Lewis. And Sean Elliott going to be forced to punt here on 4th and short.
Timeout.
Andre Sam in the right position, and LSU will call a timeout. They've got 1 remaining.
The pass brought Robert Lewis just a little too far back towards the line of scrimmage. Fortunately, just a little short on that third down play.
Roderick Jones, don't forget the rock stars of racing head to Sin City. Don't miss the Las Vegas Grand Prix tonight, 11:30 Eastern on ESPN, with additional coverage on ESPN Plus, ESPN Deportes in English and Spanish at midnight. You tell us what to look for.
Be a fascinating race. Charles Leclerc on pole. Max Verstappen starts second. A mixed-up grid. You've got a Ferrari, a Mercedes, and a Red Bull all starting 10th or lower. So it's going to be fascinating. Cold temperatures means tires, not as much grip. It's going to be interesting tonight. Looks
Hope
like
the
Georgia
track
State's
is
going
okay.
for it. Yeah, exactly.
4th and 1, and Sean Elliott going to try to roll the dice. Georgia State out of timeouts. Play clock down to 10. Death Valley comes alive.
And they're going to take the delay game.
Well, an interesting sequence there. No timeout, so
Delay game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
it's going to back you up 5. I thought maybe Granger would try a pooch punt or something there. Not sure.
Well, the interesting thing to me is after the initial hard count, after the initial clap, they didn't go to it again. Like typically you see teams at least shift motion, try and do it again. They had the one attempt quickly and then basically had to sit on it.
Well, the clock wasn't running after that sequence either. So 68 seconds to go. You'll back them up 5, and LSU will get better field position as a result.
LSU dropping another returner back deep.
Loggins gets it away. And the wobbler. And the hammer comes in. The up back once again near the 40-yard line. Still good starting field position for Jayden Daniels, who's already accounted for 4 touchdowns this evening.
He's well on his way to trying to get to that 9. And he's done it on the ground. A couple of long runs on that first drive, weaving through defenders. This was a touchdown run where, again, just making guys miss in the open field. He's done it with his arm as well. This is not the best pass to Malik Neighbors, but gets in the end zone and then deep down the field to Kyron Lacey. Also has one to Brian Thomas Jr. He has been tremendous.
4 straight games with at least 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing score. We're not even to halftime. He's already accounted for almost 300 yards of total offense. Time for Daniels again. Does he want to run it? The answer is yes. And tripped up short of the 44. Oh, a short gain. Josiah Robinson made sure that he was stopped near the 45. They'll mark him out.
It's a pretty good job by Robinson. And good speed to not let Jayden Daniels turn the corner.
We were trying to think of a comp for Jayden Daniels this week. I don't know that I've seen a great one out there. He's elusive. The accuracy is incredible. The deep ball's been fantastic. The way he processes and goes through his progressions deep in the pocket. Brian Kelly referenced that this week in his midweek press conference previewing this game. It's hard to come up with somebody where you just look at him and say, is he Lamar Jackson? Is he somebody else? And he kind of stands by himself. Wants it all again, and the deep ball incomplete. Late penalty marker comes in. Pass interference coming. Aaron Anderson was trying to run open deep down the field.
Pass interference, defense, number 5, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Was Brown that time, a little arm bar in there?
Yeah, and I think the initial interference comes before the arm bar down the field. He collisions Aaron Anderson with the ball in the air. You're going to see Anderson on the deep over route, sort of that big boy post. Ball's already in the air when he initially hits. He gets the little grab. 100% pass interference. Good call by the officials.
15-yard penalty moves it to the Georgia State 40. Daniels retreats and fires another strike. Lacey has it. It'll be first and goal inside the 10. Kyron Lacey having a big night. Third big gainer. That time give him 31.
Beautiful throw by Jaden Daniels leading Lacey up the field. And then how about Malik Neighbors doing a little bit of a block to let his receiver, his buddy, get upfield a little bit more.
Daniels has a lot of buddies on this offense this year, doesn't he? Williams motions out. And a flag comes in. They will whistle this play before it gets started. 25 seconds to go. Tigers do have one timeout remaining. A lot of extended conversations tonight. The sidelines and with this officiating crew.
These officials are getting paid by the word. They're getting paid a lot.
False start, offense. Not all of the players were set prior to the snap. That's a 5-yard penalty. This foul qualifies for a 10-second runoff. LSU has elected to use a timeout to avoid the runoff.
Hence the reason we mentioned the timeout left. Now void of timeouts.
As you can see the shuffling around for the LSU defense, for the LSU offense, excuse me. Players had not been set for 1 second when the shift comes. So it looked to me from that, it was actually more of an illegal shift than a false start. But nonetheless, called a false start. Clock was running. So the penalty caused the clock to stop, which is why the 10-second runoff would apply. LSU calls a timeout to avoid that. So now Brian Kelly's telling Jaden Daniels, hey, look, if you have an opportunity to run, make sure you can get out of bounds or score. If you do not, throw the ball out of the back of the end zone so that you can stop the clock.
This just gives Jaden Daniels an extra 5 yards to work with here deep in the red zone. Maybe not a bad thing.
Pad the stats a little bit.
Well, sometimes it gets a little stuffy down there when you're close to the goal line. You're trying to throw it in there, hammer it home. But yeah, also add a couple of yards to the tally.
Look, if you saw what Bo Nix did in the first half, Jaden Daniels is chasing that type of first half where Bo Nix had over 300 yards, and I believe it was 6 touchdowns in the first half. Jaden Daniels sitting on 5 already.
Daniels surveys, wide open for the touchdown, and that time it was too easy. Lacey, his second score of the night.
It's a really nice job by the LSU offensive line, who's a semifinalist for the Joe Moore Award, best offensive line in the country. Keeping Jaden Daniels clean, giving him plenty of time to work from one side to the other. And that the 5th touchdown for Jaden Daniels in the first half. 5th touchdown for that LSU offense. A perfect 5 for 5.
4 through the air, 1 on the ground. Over 330 yards of total offense already for number 5. The white helmets tonight and the purple jerseys. One more look. And you want to talk about another laser beam. I mean, he's got next level arm strength. It feels like at times when he lets it loose.
Yeah, and he doesn't always have to have a perfect platform, but that time does a nice job of resetting. And Kyron Lacey just puts Bryquise Brown in the matrix. Hey, I'm going left. No, I'm going right. It's a catch for a touchdown once again. And just a performance that's been tremendous from this LSU offense in the first half.
Well, we were tied at 14 for a brief moment in time. 3 touchdowns later, and LSU has seized control with Neighbors, Lacey, Thomas, all reaching the end zone so far tonight. Georgia State got the football to start this game, jumped down to a 7-0 lead. LSU will get it to start the 3rd quarter. Game not out of reach yet. Have to think that Daniels get some more playing time coming up deeper into the second half. And keep in mind, we started the show off in talking about Daniels and his run, perhaps race to win the Heisman Trophy. He's right up there with Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Marvin Harrison, of course, at Ohio State is another one of those players, Roddy, but he's acclimating himself quite well again tonight, right?
I mean, when you look at the statistics, he really stands above all of them. When you look at the rush yards, the pass yards, and the overall performance, what he's meant to this offense, and he's done nothing to hurt that tonight. I mean, he has really been tremendous. It's interesting because no one is shying away from that conversation. When we talked to Mike Denbrock, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, about what is he looking for to continue that ascent, that charge towards the Heisman. He said, look, Jaden goes out there and does what we know he can do. He'll hit his averages, which will be perfectly good enough for that Heisman campaign.
Into traffic. That pass is going to be caught. A little tippy toe catch ahead to the 43. And we're seeing Georgia State on the move with Tyleik Williams again, and this time did a great job just to keep possession. And at least 1 foot in bounds is all that's needed in college.
The question is, did he have control? And I don't think he did, because that ball was dislodged. That ball was dislodged as he got hit. When he was going out of bounds, you could see it shift. You have to have firm control in bounds and maintain that, and he did not do that.
Well, the call originally ruled a catch. It's now overruled, and they clearly see that it pops out. Kind of shuffled a little bit and then regained control, falling down. Better way to frame it.
Yeah, so from this angle, which was the first one we saw, you could just see the end result of it. But from the angle from the front that we saw just a second ago, I think he clearly has possession, has a foot down in bounds, and then the foot comes down out of bounds, still has possession until he's hit in the back, then it comes out. I think this is a catch. Left foot in bounds. He still has possession and control. And then the question is, when does that ball sort of get dislodged? And I think it's well after he's established that he has confirmed control of the football.
Yeah, the shove at the end after he's already out of bounds.
That's when the ball moves.
That's an interesting sequence, because originally it looked like that they were calling that a catch, and then they said, no, wait a second, we're going to take it back. It was incomplete, and you watch the replay. It feels like that he had possession, but I would argue, too, the final call on the field is important here, right?
Yeah, it is. And the angle that we first saw from behind, it looks like it may move the entire time, but from the front, it looks like he actually does bring it in. The question is it indisputable?
Second down.
Yeah, so that call is quite significant there, because you didn't see enough in terms of indisputable video evidence to overturn it.
Yeah, and I can see how you would arrive at there's not indisputable video evidence to overturn that.
I don't know that I've ever seen a play like that.
That one was, I thought I initially am with you. Like, I thought it was a catch initially. It seems like the officials did, but ruled it was incomplete, stands on review, so Georgia State's got second down.
Panthers out of timeouts, only 17 seconds remaining. You have to think a conservative play call it is to Carroll. Should be the final play of our first half. 35-14. Carroll gains 2 on that final play. And LSU perfect 5 for 5. 5 possessions, 5 touchdowns, racing out to this 21-point halftime advantage.
Started off okay for Georgia State, but LSU got a couple stops on defense. That offense has been exactly what you'd expected. Absolutely tremendous from Jaden Daniels and that group.
Tigers will get it to start the second half. More Jaden Daniels coming up. Halftime report headed your way right now. Say good evening to Kevin Connors, Sam Acho. Gentlemen.
Welcome to the DirecTV Halftime Report.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Shop with Google. Here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. 30 minutes in the books inside of Tiger Stadium. So far, so good for number 15 LSU. Jaden Daniels and company challenged to start, but a 21-point lead to begin our second half. Hanging out with Ronnie Jones. I am Roy Philpott. Taylor McGregor joins us on the sideline in just 1 minute. All right, Jayden Daniels wanted to get at least 9 touchdowns on the board tonight from the quarterback position. He's more than halfway home. He's got 5 in the first half.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll reach the 9, but it has been a tremendous start for the quarterback. He's thrown touchdown passes to 3 different receivers. He's rushed for a touchdown. Perfect 5 for 5 offensively, 5 drives, 5 touchdowns. Can't ask for much more from that LSU offense. The defense kind of got it together late in that first half, too.
Yeah, we'll see how this third quarter begins. LSU will get the football first and have to think that Brian Kelly's going to leave Jayden Daniels in for another drive or 2, maybe more than that as we get deeper into the game.
Yeah, they certainly will. Look, it's important to them that he's in contention and wins the Heisman Trophy. Some of that comes with statistics. And this is still a game that's within reach if you were to have some crazy stuff happen. So I think he'll play at least another half quarter, maybe full quarter.
All right, game still within reach. We'll see if Sean Elliott has any tricks up his sleeve, maybe to try to close this one down and allow his team to hang around.
We want you to enjoy the pressure.
Give credit to the Panthers that quieted this crowd to start tonight after they jumped out to a 7-0 advantage. And across the right side ahead to the 29 is Caleb Jackson. Taylor McGregor.
Well, how about this? Brian Kelly looked at me with a smile and said, well, we didn't play perfect offensively, but we did score on every possession, so we'll take that. And yes, you will see Jayden Daniels here in the second half. And then he said defensively for them, there were some misfits, but for the most part, they're stopping Georgia State's run, and so he's pleased with that. Now, as for Sean Elliott, he said, look, listen, it's pretty obviously what's happening to us defensively. We just don't match up in the secondary. He thought his offense played pretty well. They're going to try to stay on the field and take shots when they can.
Thank you very much. Jayden Daniels on the field to start this drive, Taylor, and we'll see if he can account for touchdown number 6 perhaps. And Brian Kelly said they weren't perfect. Guess in some respects that's accurate, but you score a touch on every possession. I don't know what else you could have done in the first half. They were pretty efficient.
I would say you would point to the holding penalties as being the, hey, we weren't perfect part of it. Some of the operational stuff, they had the false start, but we are nitpicking here when you're 5 for 5 on offense.
Daniels races ahead for 8 on first down. LSU averaging almost 14 yards per play on first down. Second catch for Brian Thomas. That results in another Tigers first down. Give him 8. He had a 70-yard touchdown grab his first time he touched it earlier tonight.
And I think we'll see if LSU is willing to be patient offensively in this second half. Georgia State's gone with a 3-safety look to start. Try and keep everything in front of them.
6 in the box on first down for the Panthers. Taylor motions across the line. Josh Williams stopped near the 50. LSU right at midfield on its first possession here in our second half.
Josh Williams is a really impressive young man, former walk-on, sort of embodies what it means to be a great, well-balanced football player, already graduated, working on his MBA.
Daniels back to the air, the dump off. Josh Williams, aforementioned, the spin. Driven down to the 41. Another first down for the Tigers.
He's a guy that had offers to go other places at high school, but thought he could play at this level and has proven that. And Chad Staggs looking for something defensively to slow down this LSU offense.
Big question mark tonight. Can Daniels hit 1,000 yards rushing this season? He's inching closer to that mark. Now it's 65 yards on the ground. This time the pump fake will add to that total with a cut. Daniels slides in safely to 26. 14 yards on that play, 79 on the night.
It's really pick your poison. You drop 8, see if you can get everything covered. And even though you got eyes on the quarterback, you still have to tackle him, which is incredibly difficult. And he, on that rush, goes up over 1,000 yards on the season.
On first down all night to throw. Checking every option. Buying some time and then takes the dump off to the 24. Oh, Neighbors, coverage right over his back. Makes something out of nothing that time.
Georgia State's keeping the receivers in front. They drop, once again, drop a ton of numbers back and make Jaden Daniels be patient, flush him out towards the boundary, something that they mentioned to us that they wanted to do. Still results in a 5-yard gain.
Across the right side, Noah Kane. Spun down inside the 5. It'll be 1st and goal.
You know, this is one of those interesting situations if you're LSU, where you're down inside the goal line. And in a lot of situations, you'd go big and just run the ball. We'll see if they do that, but I think if I'm Mike Denbrock, you go hard play action, and you let Jaden Daniels throw a touchdown pass to help get those stats up.
Diamond formation, Kane directly behind Daniels, who now moves under center. Daniels rolls out, wide open for the touchdown. He's got 5 scoring strikes on the night. Mac Markway, his first touchdown grab of the season. And the freshman from St. Louis cashes in.
Well, look, is it padding stats? I mean, a little bit, but if you could choose 2 ways to go about it, one is getting your running back a touchdown, that meaningful to him, but the other is to get your Heisman Trophy candidate a touchdown. That could be huge for him. Let's go with the Heisman Trophy candidate. Great play call. Scheme somebody up free in the back of the end zone. Jaden Daniels, he is inching ever closer to that number that he set for us coming into the game.
5 touchdowns through the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. And for Mac Markway, his first career score for the freshman, finding his way wide open in the end zone. And the freak show in full effect with Jaden Daniels. This guy getting it done once again for the Bayou Bengals. Jaden Daniels tonight, 5 touchdowns through the air. Again, over 300 yards passing. That's his 7th time that's happened this season. 78 more yards on the ground and another score there. And trying to keep pace with Bo Nix, Michael Penix Jr. And it's certainly something to watch as we get deeper into the evening. Talking about the Heisman, of course.
It certainly is. And in a year where LSU's not going to play for a conference championship, a national championship, I mean, this would be a big feather in the cap. You get the comparison of what Bo Nix had an insane first half. 381 yards and 6 touchdowns.
That was at Arizona, too. A pretty good Arizona team.
Yeah. It's a really good performance by him, and Jaden Daniels doing nothing to hurt his Heisman campaign.
From a recruiting standpoint for Brian Kelly, don't you think that would be significant? Daniels was able to make the trip to New York City. Ja'Cory Carter makes his first catch of the night. Even if he doesn't win it, but if he did win it, that would obviously be huge. But Joe Burrow, of course, won it in 2019, and others have here at LSU. But for Brian Kelly and the new staff, to me, that would seem to be a pretty big deal.
It would be, and it's obviously not going to fill the gap of championships. This place is judged by championships, conference championships, and national championships. That's the expectation for Brian Kelly at LSU. But a Heisman Trophy is not a bad consolation.
Granger on 2nd and 3 will rush for 5. And a first down for Georgia State. Panthers would like to be the hang-around team here in the second half, down by 28. After 4 consecutive touchdowns have been put up by LSU after we were tied at 14. Judged by championships, an SEC West title last year, Brian Kelly's first season. 7-3 this year. Look back at that Ole Miss game, you feel like what could have been there.
Yeah.
Daniels put up good numbers. The defense faltered in Oxford. Granger flushed and is going to be sacked back in the 31. A trio of defenders. Gofu got there. Mason Smith got there as well for the Tigers. It's interesting. We did talk to Brian Kelly yesterday extensively. Take a look at this sack and the pressure.
Mason Smith just wins immediately up front, flushing Granger. And Mason Smith's one of those guys where as he gets more healthy, coming off that ACL from a year ago that he suffered in the first game, as he gets more healthy, he is a guy with tremendous upside.
It's a loss of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 16. 6 in the box for the Tigers. And movement looked like Carroll kind of shifted in the backfield for a moment unexpectedly. Instead, they took too much time. I was going to say, we talked to Brian Kelly. We asked him the question, if you go back, talk to yourself before your first year last season, what advice would you give yourself knowing what you know now? And he said, really the biggest thing is in this league, it is so hard to win on the road. We went back to that game in Oxford, obviously what happened in Alabama. It's a one-score game late in Tuscaloosa. He said just fighting the crowds, the emotions. Didn't really see that before coming down here to LSU in his previous stops. Tyleik Williams bottled up in a short game, but I thought that was interesting. And he's learned a little bit on the fly in that regard. And look, it's not going to get any easier in the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma coming in. But no, you understand what he meant when he said it.
Yeah, this league is different. The passion, the venues are different than what you see elsewhere. Brian Kelly mentioned that specifically, so he's getting this thing going in the right direction.
Andre Sam, the injured player, so we'll step aside. Let's look at that last drive with our playbook presented by IKEA.
And this is the last touchdown. You're going to see Mason Taylor go in motion, and you're going to get a basic flat corner concept down on the goal line. Mac Markway runs the corner, Mason Taylor goes to the flat, and it puts that corner in a real bind. He has to choose whether he's going to go back to the corner route or break on the flat. He chooses the flat. Mac Markway wide open in the back corner of the end zone. Jaden Daniels, 5 touchdown passes, strike up the band. And there you go. Everybody in Baton Rouge is happy.
And they also love to see 3rd and 15. Granger was bumped near the line, escapes for a moment, and lassoed down from behind at the 41. Gain of 9 on 3rd and 15. Braden Swinson is able to finally catch up with number 3 in white. 4th down. Sean Elliott thinking about it here.
You're here to win, so I don't know why you wouldn't go for it around midfield. You haven't stopped him at all defensively, so it doesn't matter if it's 41 yards or 401 yards. LSU feels like offensively they're going to be able to score.
Analytics like going for it on 4th and 6 for the record. From the 41-yard line on the Georgia State side of the field. Crowd comes to life for a moment, and Granger fires a strike. Out at midfield goes Robert Lewis, and the drive continues. A gain of 10 on 4th and 6.
It has felt like Darren Granger's gotten some of that mojo back today. He's delivered some good passes. This is an on-time delivery to Lewis. On the same page as his receiver. We've seen him go to that a few times, pressing off the corner, pushing the corner up the field, breaking back. And the question was, how do you get Darren Granger going today? I think they've done that for the most part.
You think back, too, to Lewis missing what could have been a wide-open touchdown to the end zone. That 4th down play could have tied it at 21 late in the first half. I don't know that Georgia State has been the same team since. Still unable to slow down LSU on offense. Marcus Carroll weaving his way through traffic. He'll push the pile. That's another 1st down and a gain of 11. Carroll's put up decent numbers tonight. 3rd leading rusher in America. 13 carries for almost 85 yards and a touchdown.
On the other side, 44 of those came on one play. So if you're LSU, you're actually not super pleased because there have been a few misfits, and you obviously got hit with the big one. But other than that big one, you'd be at 12 carries for, what would that be, 39 yards?
LSU would take that.
Yeah.
You got to count all the plays, though, right?
Yeah, you do. You can't excuse any of them.
Carroll had a couple of more. Gain of 4, stopped at the 35. You saw that brief graphic showing rivalry week on the horizon. Clean old-fashioned hate next week in primetime on ABC. A lot of folks excited about that game. And Texas A&M LSU, obviously a wild weekend and week in the SEC West. Changes in College Station and at Mississippi State. Jimbo Fisher, Zach Arnett, both fired over the course of the last couple of days. Always a lot happening here towards the end of the regular season, and all eyes again on the 4-team college football playoff. Carroll on 2nd down.
It's going to be a really fun finish. And Texas A&M got off to a rocky start against Abilene Christian today. It seemed to right the ship a little bit, but game next weekend, this place is going to be super charged up. You get a early kickoff here in Tiger Stadium.
Texas A&M fared better than what Auburn did today at home against New Mexico State. That's a score that really pops after what Auburn did last week at Arkansas. They were unstoppable. The defense was lights out. Total opposite today, and a loss to the Aggies of Conference USA. Third down slant incomplete. It'll be fourth down. Jakari Carter in the area, but that was intended for Cradle.
Obviously, if you go for it earlier in the drive, Georgia State going to go for it here. It'll be interesting to see if LSU goes with press coverage to not allow a sort of comeback right at the sticks. They do have both corners rolled up. I don't know if they'll heat up Darren Granger here.
11th play of the drive. It's 4th and 6. Similar spot on the field where that pass to the end zone sailed incomplete to Lewis in the second quarter. Granger wanted to take off. He is met with resistance, and the sack by Savion Jones.
There is a massive hole that Darren Granger tried to get through, but Savion Jones does a great job of spinning back towards the line of scrimmage as he's pursuing the quarterback, sees that hole, and gets the fourth down stop. It's number 35, shows his agility.
Back in Baton Rouge, 42-14. We mentioned in the first half, Jayden Daniels going through virtual reality training this year. Our own Roddy Jones participated yesterday in the indoor practice facility. This is what it looks like in kind of a rough version. Tell us what that experience was like.
It was tremendous. Had a chance with Jack Marucci, yes, that Jack Marucci, to put the goggles on. They queue up a play call and then a defensive alignment and blitz, and you can go through the entire process of looking across the field and trying to figure out pre-snap and post-snap what it's going to be. And T-Mac, Jayden Daniels does this 3 times a week, and it's really helped him this year.
I thought the most interesting part is that they can speed up the play. So he told me they did it before Mississippi State, and then the game just slowed down for him. And if you look at what he did at Mississippi State, he had an 88.2 completion percentage. He said, I couldn't miss. And so before that is when he started, and of course he had a buy-in after it.
Well, the buy-in here nets him another big gain on the ground, 10 yards, and that pushes him across the 1,000-yard mark this season in terms of rushing yards. So another quarterback that's thrown for 3,000 and rushed for 1,000 in the same season. Now 11 players have done that all time in the history of the FBS. Daniels back to work after the catch by Thomas and the scramble. And now LSU on the move. The other impressive idea with VR, virtual reality, is, Roddy, we were told that they actually speeded up to faster than real time.
Yeah.
And it's been a progression over the course of the last couple of weeks and months. They started out slow, they moved to real time speed, and then faster than that. And his response has been off the charts in that department.
It has been. They can track his eyes through that device, and they've seen how much faster he is processing. And they let me do a couple at real speed and then one at Jayden Daniels speed. And let me just tell you, that last one, the look on my face as I'm about to get sacked when it's Jayden Daniels speed, that's what that was, because it was, I mean, it's fast. You snap the ball, everything's moving quick, but he's able to dissect it, and it just slows everything down come game time.
Lacey picks up 19. Thomas picks up 15 here. And the processing speed to be able to do that. He referred to it kind of as a cheat code with all that he's been able to learn, because he understands what's coming. He knows what to expect from opposing defenses thanks to this tool and all the time he spent with it this year. Got a chance to add another touchdown to the ledger. LSU on the move. Jackson got to the corner, and then a stop at the 9 prevented the score with less than 2 to go in our third quarter.
And the ability to get those reps is really tremendous. I mean, if you watch the quarterback documentary, you saw all the hoops that Kirk Cousins was going through to try and get mental reps on a weekly basis. So when you're able to go in 3 times a week and basically go through the whole play sheet against different blitzes, different fronts, different coverages, it kind of gives you the answers to the test so that you're ready, and it's paid dividends as Jaden Daniels has put up huge numbers.
Lacey went in motion. Daniels will keep it. He spun down after a gain of 1. It'll be 3rd down and goal. Let's see what Mike Denbrock wants to dial up.
Saw him last time in this situation go to the air with the tight ends. Still with Neighbors and Thomas on the field. They are both going to line up, at least initially, to the same side of the field, to the top of your screen. Will they go there?
Under a minute to go in the 3rd. All LSU. And racing down to call a timeout will be Sean Elliott. With that second gear, we'll call his guys to the sideline.
30 seconds in length.
Now, while we have a moment, we'll check back in with the studio and Kevin Connors.
All right, Roy, and your Capital One rewarding performance is courtesy of Missouri's Brady Cook, hooking up with Theo Wease. Sam Acho, 77 yards.
Theo Wease, the transfer receiver from Oklahoma, took a bigger role with the injury to Luther Burden. Now they're both healthy, but Theo Wease is making it look easy.
The Gators have just scored to make it a 2-point game over on ESPN. Roy, if Missouri wins and beats Arkansas next week, they'll go 10-2.
How about that for Eli Drinkwitz when he started the season perhaps on the hot seat? Meanwhile, for Billy Napier, he's got to find a way to win one of these final 2 games to get the Gators bowling again. And next week, Florida State comes to town in prime time. Of course, against the Noles, a big-time rivalry.
Yeah, and that obviously has taken a big hit, that rivalry with the Jordan Travis injury, the gruesome injury to Jordan Travis, one of the best people in college football. Certainly thinking about him, praying for his speedy recovery, but the Gators got to get a win, as you said.
3rd and goal after the Georgia State timeout. Daniels buys some time, avoids pressure. Daniels stays alive. Daniels! And stops short of the goal line. He did everything but grab the inside portion of that pylon. 4th down.
This is as athletic a play as you're going to see from a quarterback. The ability to avoid, then the balance to stay up, almost gets in the end zone, and LSU's going to go for it. Once again, I mean, you got to let Jaden Daniels throw this, right?
He's got 5 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. A lot of effort there to be stopped just short, ruled out at the 1. What will be the final play of our third quarter, and LSU showing that they want to go for it to start our final 15 minutes. 42-14 back in Baton Rouge. LSU and Georgia State will wrap it up. 4th and goal coming up. Jaden Daniels remains on the field for 4th and goal with his team up by 28. This play will start from the 1. Daniels under center. Daniels will keep it. To the edge, can he get there? No! Lassoed out of bounds. And the horse collar results in what should be an LSU first down, and that was Chris Davis. Roddy, his speed, his ability, you thought that he was going to get to that front pylon.
It's really nice athleticism by Chris Davis. Unfortunately, the only way you could get him down was to grab the horse collar. So it's going to be called, and LSU's going to have another shot.
Personal foul, horse collar tackle, defense, number 43. That's half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Yeah, anytime you grab the back of the jersey around that nameplate and you pull down, it's going to be a horse collar tackle. It's a good call by our officiating crew, and it gives Jaden Daniels another opportunity to tackle on that touchdown.
Power look, Daniels under center. Noah Kane right behind him. They'll push him across. And did he get there? Waiting for the official indication. Didn't need much on 1st and goal. Daniels with 1 rushing touchdown already tonight. Make it 2. And it took about 10 seconds. Under the pile was number 5 for touchdown number 7.
That'll probably be it for what we see from Jayden Daniels tonight. He's not going to get to 9, most likely.
Are you sure?
I am not. I would anticipate, though, that he's not going to play anymore in this game. But what a performance. And look, there's no way you can tell what's going on in the bottom of that pile. So it's going to stand no matter what. You're shrugging your shoulders like you think 9's a possibility.
Something tells me
there's
that
no way.
QB5 does not want to exit the playing surface in his final night game at Tiger Stadium. Call me crazy.
Something tells me that CBK, Coach Brian Kelly, needs to get him out of the game, keep him healthy. He's got his stats.
Extra point is good, 49-14. Moments ago, our Taylor McGregor caught up with somebody that many people would like to hear from at this point in time.
Here with LSU head coach Brian Kelly, what has Jayden told you about what he wants to accomplish in this game?
Well, first of all, win the football game. That was important. We want to be able to win our last 3 and have an opportunity to get to 10 wins, and that's really important. And then he wants to play to the standard that he set. He set such a high standard, so that's really the most important thing. And he doesn't want to come out of the game. You know I was going to get to that. He wants to play the whole game. We'll see what happens.
Thank you, Coach. Roy?
Roddy wants to play the whole game, and guess what? Jayden Daniels just became the first player in LSU history. 5 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns in the same game. The pregame thought of getting to 9, now sitting at 7 with 14:44 to go. Dare I suggest does not seem impossible.
It's certainly not impossible, especially if Jayden Daniels is the one deciding whether or not he comes out of the game. He is not paid to make those decisions. I would guess that maybe 1 more, maybe 1, but not 2.
Don't forget this season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. Thank you once again, Allstate. LSU 7 possessions tonight. LSU 7 touchdowns. As the Tigers get set for Texas A&M next week, that early kick, and there's the stat we just gave you verbally. All smiles, and he's got a great one here in Baton Rouge. 1st and 10 for Georgia State. Casey Adams with a carry. Taylor, what you got?
Well, here's what I can tell you. Jayden Daniels has the headset on right now, and he just went up to Malik Neighbors and said, "Are you ready?" So my inclination from what I'm seeing down here on the sideline is they're not stopping anytime soon.
Well, here's the thing, too. If you wake up tomorrow morning, you check the box score online on social media, and you see he's got 7 touchdowns so far tonight, accounted for 7, if you will. That goes up another touchdown or 2, and you're trying to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't know that that hurts your chances. There's an element of sportsmanship, of course. Robert Lewis bottled up and sent backwards.
It's a great point by you on the sportsmanship part of it. But I think even Sean Elliott on the other side, you know, sportsmanship is at this level. Is it unsportsmanlike to leave your Heisman Trophy contending quarterback in to try and pad the stats a little bit? I would say no. You want to stop him from winning the Heisman, stop him.
Sounds like Sean Elliott. We've spent some time with him this year.
I think Sean Elliott would be in complete and total agreement with what I said.
Run the option with Granger. A nifty move at the end. Brought down at the 40, a gain of 14. That's a first down. Stopped by Major Burns.
On the Georgia State side, I think there's some positive things to build on from this game. See, offensively, they kind of got stuck in the mud there a little bit. Got away from some of the stuff that they were doing early on to really stay in rhythm. We're never able to get a consistent run game going. That's a testament to really this front of LSU. But the success on the perimeter has not been as much as it was early on.
Rangel will go deep, and the pass batted down. Looking for Kikwata. And the PBU defends the long play. That was Sage Ryan. Now, Sage Ryan has had an interesting season playing a bunch of different roles for defensive coordinator Matt House and Brian Kelly.
He started the season almost exclusively at the nickel position, but injuries at cornerback, including to Deuce Chestnut, forced him to go outside of that field corner. It's forced some of the young guys that we've mentioned today, Ashton Stamps, Javian Toviano, to play to the boundary. It's been some of the struggles.
Adams straight ahead, and a gain of 2 makes it 3rd and 8. Taylor.
Speaking of guys in the secondary, Andre Sam, the safety here tonight, out with a neck injury. This has been a problem for the Tigers all season long. They just haven't been able to keep guys in the secondary healthy.
I mean, there's 5 players all designated as true freshmen that have seen action in the LSU secondary this year. And they've had to play multiple positions, sometimes positions maybe that they weren't brought here to play, but because of those injuries, they've been forced to the field. And I mean, look, that'll pay dividends going into next season. You get all those guys, assuming that they return, those kinds of reps this season. That'll be meaningful. On the screen on 3rd down and nothing doing. LSU read it beautifully. And Agofu led the charge that time. It'll be 4th and 9.
And it'll be interesting with this LSU defense to see what Brian Kelly decides to attack in the transfer portal, because you're going to bring in a talented class. They do every year here at LSU, but you don't want to run in with a bunch of sophomores either. I mean, none of those guys will have played a lot this year, but what will they attack? I think there's a couple of areas that they can look to improve, including speed at linebacker and experience in the secondary.
Gregory Clayton Jr. back deep to receive this punt. Off the bounce, it'll be whistled dead. Inside the 20, a punt of 41. LSU gets it. When we come back, will we see Jaden Daniels? Looks like we may. Welcome back to Tigers Stadium. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. And welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Shop with Google. 49-14. All Bayou Bengals in search of win number 8. Texas A&M coming to town early next Saturday morning. Jaden Daniels does remain on the field. LSU is perfect in the touchdown department tonight. 7 possessions, 7 scores, resulting in 49 points. Jaden Daniels apart, all 7. Those scoring romps and looking for more. Thomas had to spin around and incomplete. What has turned out to be another historic night for Jaden Daniels, and perhaps the most historic for an LSU quarterback, going back to Joey Burrow. That championship run, the semifinal victory against Oklahoma, and that was Chris Hilton, not Thomas, spinning.
He's going to want that one back because Chris Hilton wide open. Although I see what he's trying to do with the throw. He's trying to take him away from the safety, but it made Hilton try and have to spin around. Not able to reel it in.
Daniels back to the air. Neighbors still on the field and brought down to the 24. Got a lot of potential first-round draft picks out there trying to bring home maybe one more touchdown. Over 10 minutes to go here.
One thing that we haven't mentioned about Jaden Daniels that has improved for him significantly this year is his footwork, and you could kind of see it on that one. The ability to reset his feet quickly and deliver. Seen it a few times here tonight.
3rd and 4. And with time, Daniels over the top of that initial wave of defenders to Malik Neighbors, and enough for a first down.
They just make it look so easy. Malik Neighbors makes it look easy. That's a tough catch on the sideline, but he does that a million times. Jaden Daniels, little hole shot between the safety and the corner. Neighbors, 2 for good measure. Hey, look, here's what you're going to get at the next level. Toe tap.
Well, Neighbors now at 100 yards receiving. Kyron Lacey at 101 yards tonight. Brian Thomas Jr. at 103. A pretty good night at the office when you have 3 wideouts all over 100 yards receiving. A lot of time left to play. Caleb Jackson With authority at 6 feet, 225 pounds, give him 17 more yards.
I made a comment about Josh Williams' legs yesterday to Brian Kelly. He goes, "Have you seen Caleb Jackson?" I said, "No, sir, I haven't seen him in person." So he is an impressive young freshman. They're really excited about his potential as he gets more experienced.
He also was a standout performer in the track department coming out of high school. 4th in the state in the 100 meters. Play action. Daniels heaves one long, and it is caught for the touchdown. Neighbors again. The deep sauce from 40 yards out. Eight touchdowns tonight for Jaden Daniels.
This is one-on-one with the safety, and it's just easy. It's unfair. He goes outside, or inside, then outside, and a little stem, and a great catch on the back end by Malik Neighbors. Jaden Daniels, again, he probably isn't going to get to 9, Roy, but he's at 8 right now, so he's knocking on the door.
I tried to tell you.
I thought he'd be out of the game 2 touchdowns ago. And here he is with 8 total touchdowns today. So, question is, does he have firm control inbounds? And you have to survive the ground with the football. He does. If you have firm control inbounds, does he regain control before it goes out of bounds? I don't know that he does. I don't know that that's firm control. I think they're going to take this off the board.
That last shift kind of caroms out and rolls over.
Although this is one of those that, like, forever in the history of football, this has been a touchdown, and if replay overturns it, not saying it's an incorrect call, but we played this game for 100 years before replay was around, and that would have been a touchdown for 100 years, and now, because of replay, may not be. I tend to say that this stands.
It's got to be indisputable.
It does have to be indisputable. I think it's indisputable that the ball moves, and I think it's indisputable that he comes down in bounds. The question is, that movement, does he get any part of himself down in the end zone when he regains the ball firmly for the last time? This one's tough, and that makes me feel like it's going to be a stands, but I'm really sitting on the fence here.
Perhaps same as our replay officials are, as they taking an extensive look at this under 9 minutes to go for the time being. What amounts to another touchdown and enormous yards tonight and scores for Jaden Daniels.
The other part of me feels like, you know, as a replay official, it's like, come on, man, be cool. Just let him have the touchdown. Let's move on. Let's keep this thing rolling.
Has that ever been said in a replay booth?
It should be.
I agree. I just don't know that it has.
No, I say that jokingly. Those guys have a job to do, and they do it well most of the time.
After video review, the ruling of a touchdown stands.
Hey, replay official, be cool, man. Be cool.
We cool.
let's just keep that thing rolling.
Well, that play is significant in many respects. We mentioned the 8 touchdowns, 6 through the air, 2 on the ground. And now Daniels becomes the first quarterback in LSU history.
Got a little squabble from the fans too.
On the verge of becoming the first quarterback in LSU history to go 400 through the air and 100 on the ground. And the extra point up and in, 56-14.
It's a great adjustment by Malik Neighbors. Got reviewed, stands on review. He's sitting on 8. Will he get to his goal of 9? We will see when we come back.
8:59 remaining. Jaden Daniels has tied an LSU record, accounting for 8 touchdowns tonight. Joe Burrow did it against Oklahoma. Joe Burrow did it in the college football playoff 4 years ago en route to a national championship. Jay Daniels has done it against Georgia State, a bowl team, but certainly a little different. And I think, Roddy, he just tried to make the case to Brian Kelly to maybe come back on for one more possession. Tyleik Williams spun down crossing the 25, and we'll show you a look at this. I mean, to me, this is quite obvious. Coach, I want one more possession, a night game at Tiger Stadium. What do you think? Can you make it happen? And I'm not so sure that he wants to do that, Roddy.
What'd you say to me? Then you get the, no, you're done. Oh, come on, Coach, man. Come on.
We're done. We're done.
Man, I tried.
I applaud the effort.
I do, too. Some would argue that Jaden Daniels has done it against a better defense than Joe Burrow did.
Perhaps. New quarterback on the field, Colasurdo. And the handoff goes nowhere to Cradle. Taylor?
Well, I was watching Jaden after he went up to Coach Kelly, and then he came over to his offensive guys. He's sitting with the receivers right now, and he's like, really? I'm so close to the record. Because remember, he did tell me he wanted 9 TDs, so 1 short. But a good night regardless.
A good night regardless indeed. There's going to be a lot of people who look at the box score tomorrow morning to see what Jaden Daniels did and see 8 total touchdowns and think, that game against Texas A&M, I may have to tune into that before I cast my ballot.
It certainly will be an interesting game with the coaching change in College Station. Little bobble as a late penalty marker comes in and KZ Adams around the right side.
And not to be overshadowed, Malik Neighbors, 8 catches for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's Bolitnikoff type numbers.
And you got 3 receivers over the century mark. First time that's happened.
Foul, face mask, offense. That penalty's declined. The thought the play is 3rd down.
Since the Texas game, going back 4 years. And every possession has resulted in a touchdown, with Neighbors, Thomas, and Lacey all reaching the end zone a combined 5 times. And 1 more to Mac Markway. First time he's scored in his short LSU career. Penalty was declined. 3rd down and long. Colasurdo's going to take off. And the Georgia State backup signal caller tiptoes out of bounds. And that is enough to move the sticks on 3rd and 15.
Michele Colasurdo showing some wheels. Taking off up the field.
Junior out of Inman, South Carolina, Chapman High School. Played in 19 games.
Sweet lady's got on in that picture.
That is a tight hat.
I get me one of those.
I think we can make that happen.
You know, right up the street.
Off the screen on 1st down, a short pickup. KZ Adams crossing the 40. I do want to get your opinion on the Heisman race, because obviously the numbers tonight for Jaden Daniels not going to hurt the cause. We saw what Bo Nix did earlier today on the road in Arizona. Michael Penix trying to hold on in Corvallis. To me, the winner of the Pac-12 between those 2 quarterbacks could be in position here. How about a deep ball completed all the way down to the 16? And that is Cradle, now healthy. His first big play of the night. And Georgia State suddenly in business for a moment.
It's a great throw by Colasurdo and a good catch by Dekias Cradle, who's been out for a number of weeks. Nice job down the field of the delivery and the reception. Back to the Heisman Trophy conversation. You're right, Roy. The winner of the Pac-12 championship game is probably going to have the inside track based on team success alone. That's why late game touchdowns like the one Jaden Daniels just had are so important, because his numbers have to be so overwhelmingly undeniable, being on a team that has 3 losses, that when you see them, they've got to blow you away. Like a Lamar Jackson and some of the other guys that we've seen that have been on teams that haven't been in championship conversations that have won Heisman trophies.
Well, he's got 36 touchdown passes on the season. 2nd down and 8. Colasurdo, handoff to Adams again. And a short pickup. You mentioned the 3 losses just quickly. Other Heisman winners have had similar records going back to the turn of the century, including Lamar Jackson, RG3, Tim Tebow in 07.
But look at those touchdown numbers. Lamar Jackson, 51 touchdowns. Robert Griffin III, 47. And Tim Tebow, 55. I mean, those are numbers that just blow you away, and that's why they're able to win it.
Third down and 4. Little option play. Colasurdo on the late pitch and brought down after a gain of 1. Would it change the idea for a moment when you look at LSU's 3 losses? All 3 were on the road. All 3 were on the road against teams presently ranked in the top 13.
Yeah, they're using a lot of logic and a lot of nuance when it comes to the Heisman Trophy discussion and those losses. Also, they had great offensive performances in all of those losses, but that's nuance and logic, Roy. We often vote the best player on the best team for the Heisman Trophy, and it's sort of just almost muscle memory at this point for a lot of people. But I certainly think the most outstanding player lives in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
After Burden lost a yard, the timeout is called on 4th and 5 for Georgia State. Get to that play when we come back here in Baton Rouge. Shop with Google is a proud sponsor of ESPN College Football. And welcome back to Baton Rouge. Jaden Daniels show nearly complete. 6 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing scores. And our score tells the story, 56-14. 4th down for Georgia State. Colasurdo will sail that pass out of bounds. Looking for Cradle. And was wide right with that attempt. Our conclusion here in Tiger Stadium. Coming up, we got 3:54 remaining. Final tally on Jaden Daniels. 4 yards short of 100, so he does not become the first quarterback in LSU history with 400 yards passing and 100 yards on the ground. But he came very close. His night is done. Garrett Nussmeier, the new quarterback for the Tigers. Trey Holly is the new running back, and Nussmeier, they are very high on when you talk to Brian Kelly. Get a chance for some mop-up duty after watching the starting quarterback account for all of those scores and the big numbers tonight in the final night game at Tiger Stadium this year.
Good opportunity for Garrett Nussmeier to get some reps. They are very excited about him. He's got a big arm. Brian Kelly's looking forward to him getting more reps in this offense, so he plays more in the structure of the offense.
Handoff, Holly weaving his way through traffic and brought down at the 20 by Tavian Brown.
Did want to circle back to Jaden Daniels' numbers because we shouldn't overshadow the fact that he's 25 of 30 in a real-life, full-speed American tackle football game. I mean, 83% passing, 5 incompletions the entire game. We couldn't do that in the indoor facility yesterday, throwing on air.
We couldn't kick extra points or complete touchdown passes. How about this? More touchdown tosses tonight than incompletions.
Oh, see, when you put it that way. Now, why didn't you lead with that?
Sometimes we bury the lead. We don't mean to. 3rd and 3, 2.5 to go. Holly will try to keep the possession alive. Didn't need much, and he got what he needed in about 2 inches more. First down for the Tigers. Final year of the 4-team college football playoff field. You know, the interesting thing is, if we were playing this game in 2024, LSU would
be in the hunt.
Be in contention for a
It'd be in the
playoff
hunt. Absolutely.
Move to 12 next year.
You'd be looking at the Texas A&M game and a performance there as a game that could potentially put you in a 12-team college football playoff.
Really bodes well for teams that start playing well late after early season losses. Be Holly again off right tackle, plunging his way across the 30. Take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Goodyear. And you look Up and down the board, I see dubs everywhere. Everybody won.
Yeah, I would look at that number 4 team, Florida State, and say, look, I know there's a W next to their name, but they took an L today. Jordan Travis's injury is massive, and it has college football playoff implications. They got a tough game in the Swamp next week. Just a gruesome injury. And while the football part is certainly secondary, Jordan Travis's health, first and foremost, it does have an impact on the college football playoff and what's going to happen.
Yeah, something to watch there for the Seminoles, who will get Louisville in the ACC championship game in Charlotte in 2 weeks. But first things first, a trip to the Swamp against Florida. Primetime next week on ESPN. And that's a game that both fan bases have circled. And for Florida and Billy Napier, that's a game they're going to have to win to be able to get to a bowl game, pending on what happened in Como earlier, and they were trailing against Mizzou the last time we checked.
And look, that game against Miami that Florida State played, I mean, that was a game till the end. So what can that team do against Florida next week? We'll see. But LSU has Texas A&M coming to town, and the pursuit of 10 wins still there. Jaden Daniels, a tremendous day, 8 total touchdowns. We've talked about him a ton, and yet it's still not enough because of how good he was today. Brian Kelly and his team nearly perfect offensively. A couple of holding penalties here and there being the only real blemishes. But a really good day for that man, QB5, Jaden Daniels.
56-14 the final score. LSU with touchdowns on each of its first 8 possessions tonight, and Daniels accounting for 509 total yards. And each one of those 8 scores, including 6 through the air, 2 on the ground. College football scoreboard coming up next as we wrap things up in Baton Rouge.
Give a shout out to these receivers. Malik Nabier's 140 and 2, Kyron Lacey 101, Brian Thomas 103. Spread the ball around too.
Taylor McGregor on the sidelines with Jaden Daniels.
Thank you. You told me you wanted 9, but you got 8. What was your plea to Coach Kelly to try and stay in this game?
I just need one more drive, Coach. You know, I told you yesterday I was trying to break the record, but, you know, let the young guys get in there, you know, tie the record, but I try to break it.
What allows this offense to click so well?
I would just say it's make sure, you know, the coaching staff and, you know, just the players being dialed in throughout the week and be able to go out there and execute at a high level. You know, how we practice is how we play. So, you know, we're practicing hard. You know, we focus on the little things, the details. So when Saturdays come, it can be easier.
We all know your name is squarely in the Heisman conversation. What's been the most enjoyable part about this journey for you?
I mean, just last season, really just enjoying embracing everything with my teammates. Going out here, you know, my last year, just enjoying every little game, every little moment. You know, I can't thank nothing but God.
One more game in the regular season. What do you want to do next week?
I don't know. I got to think about that. You know, I put a standard tonight. You know, I fell a little short, but you know, next week just come out here and get a win.
Thank you, Jaden.
Thank you,
guys.
Taylor, thank you. LSU with win number 8. The Tigers now 8-3 with Texas A&M coming to town next weekend. That early start in Baton Rouge on ESPN. For Roddy Jones, Taylor McGregor, our entire hardworking ESPN crew, Roy Philpott saying thanks for watching. Our final score 56-14. LSU victorious. Scoreboard coming up next.